Me ask you a really serious question before we start. Are you just going to passively consume another piece of content today, or are you actually going to change your financial life? Because look, a lot of us read books, we watch explainers, we listen to podcasts, we screenshot advice on our phones, and then we go right back to living the exact same way. Today, we are stopping that cycle dead in its tracks. So, let's dive into this explainer of Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
I'm going to give you some tough love right out of the gate here. If you're just here to collect more information, just to feel like you learned something today and then do absolutely nothing with it, well, this might not be the right explainer for you. The goal isn't just to finish learning about yet another financial concept. The real goal is to become the kind of person who applies what they learn. So if you're open to taking even one small lesson from this explainer and applying it today, you are absolutely in the right place.
And that brings us to our foundational mindset. Ramit Sethi calls this the 85% solution. What this means is that you don't need to be perfect. You definitely don't need to be some Wall Street expert. Getting started is vastly more important than perfection. You see, the mistake people usually make is getting totally overwhelmed, thinking they need to manage their money flawlessly right from the start. And that just leads to analysis paralysis, and ultimately, doing nothing at all. The practical lesson here, just get your money system 85% right and move on with your life. 85% of the way there is infinitely better than 0%, right?
Okay, let's jump into Section 1, Redefining Your Rich Life Through Conscious Spending. For decades, financial gurus have basically told you the secret to wealth is skipping your morning latte. Actually, scratch that, it's a terrible way to get rich. Instead, Rami introduces this concept of conscious spending. Here's what it is. You cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't care about, so you can spend extravagantly on the things you actually love. It's a real game changer because it completely eliminates financial guilt. You're proactively choosing where your money goes based on your actual personal values.
Let me give you a mind-blowing real-life example to show you exactly why this works. Ramit has a friend who spends $21,000 a year just going out to bars and restaurants. Yeah, 21 grand. And he does it completely guilt-free. How is that even possible? Well, it's because he optimized his big financial wins. He doesn't care about having a huge apartment or a flashy car, so he cuts costs mercilessly in those areas. He consciously decided that going out with friends is his version of a rich life, and he funds it without a single shred of guilt.
Or take another reader, Lisa. Lisa absolutely loves shoes. She buys $300 pairs of shoes all the time. But before you judge her, realize this. Lisa fully funds her 401k and her investments first. Because she optimized her system from the top down, she can go out and buy those expensive shoes without a drop of anxiety. She isn't being irresponsible, she is being a conscious spender. So the crucial point here is understanding the trap most people fall into. The mistake is trying to use restrictive budgeting, tracking every single penny, feeling terrible every time you buy a coffee, and eventually just throwing your hands up and giving up. The practical lesson you can apply today is building a conscious spending plan instead. It's all about looking forward and actively directing your money rather than looking backward and feeling guilty about what you already spent. All right, here is your actionable lesson for this segment. I want you to organize your money into 4 specific percentage buckets. Think of these as guidelines. About 50 to 60% goes to fixed costs, so that's your rent, your utilities, the basics. 10% goes straight to investments. 5 to 10% goes to savings for things like vacations or an emergency fund. And that leaves roughly 20 to 35% for guilt-free spending. Literally, go out, buy the shoes, buy the latte. If your money fits into these buckets, you are winning the game.
Now, you might be listening to those buckets and thinking, okay, sure, but how do I actually manage that every single month without losing my mind? Well, it sounds simple, but here is where it gets incredibly interesting.
Let's move into Section 2, Automating Your Financial Machine. This is how we save while sleeping.
This is the moment you transform from someone who worries about money into someone whose money just works for them in the background. Financial automation uses the power of defaults. You link your checking, savings, credit cards, and investment accounts so they communicate and move money around automatically. Why does this matter so much? Because, let's be honest, human beings are inherently lazy and we make mistakes. Automation takes willpower completely out of the equation.
And you want to know the best part? Once you set this system up, you literally only need to spend about 90 minutes a month managing your money. That is it. No more living in spreadsheets. No more sweating over a stack of bills on a Sunday night. Your financial infrastructure does all the heavy lifting for you.
The real-life examples of this kind of effortless wealth building are just staggering. Take a reader named Ross Fletcher.
Since implementing a fully automated system, Ross took his net worth from zero to close to $450,000. And he never worries about money. His bills are paid, his indulgences are funded, and his retirement accounts are maxed out, all completely on autopilot.
The classic mistake people make here is relying on human discipline. They tell themselves, oh, I'll just manually transfer money to savings at the end of the month if I have anything left over. But come on, we all know what happens. There is never anything left over. The practical lesson here is to leverage the power of defaults. Make the correct behavior automatic so you don't even have to think about it.
So, here is the exact step-by-step automatic flow you can set up with your bank right after this explainer ends. Step 1, your paycheck hits your checking account. Step 2, your system automatically transfers your chosen percentages to your investment and savings accounts right away. Boom, you pay yourself first. Step 3, your fixed costs are auto-paid. Step 4, whatever is left in your checking account is your guilt-free spending money. Spend it all, it's already accounted for.
All right, so you've got your spending plan and you've automated the flow. But listen, this is the part most people completely miss. Where is that automated investment money actually going?
That brings us to Section 3, the myth of expertise, and how you can actually beat the pros. We kind of need to call out the financial industry for a second here. They intentionally make investing seem incredibly intimidating just so they can charge you exorbitant fees. The myth of expertise is this false, super pervasive idea that you absolutely need a professional advisor or hot stock tips to get rich. The real truth? Professional stock pickers frequently fail to beat the market over the long term. You literally do not need them.
Let me explain why this matters. Society constantly tells us we should fear being average. We want above-average cars, above-average jobs, right? But in investing, an average historical market return of about 8% is incredibly powerful. That boring average return, compounded over time, is exactly what makes regular people wealthy. You don't need to outsmart the market, you just need to be in it.
The reality is, a lot of people act like the stock market is a giant casino. They try to pick individual stocks, they obsess over the daily swings of crypto, they day trade based on some random tweet. Guys, they aren't investing, they are just gambling.
So the big mistake here is wanting your investments to be sexy. Sexy means crypto, it means day trading, it means constant low-level stress. The practical lesson? Choose to be rich instead. Rich means buying boring, low-cost index funds or target date funds, holding them for the long term, and automating your contributions. Sure, it's not thrilling to talk about at a dinner party, but buy and hold investing wins over the long term, for sure, every single time.
And finally, Section 4, your biggest takeaway. Let's take some action.
We've talked about conscious spending, setting up an automated financial machine, and investing in those boring, highly effective index funds. But remember that promise we made at the very beginning? I really don't want you to just close this tab and feel good about learning something new today. I want you to take action. So what is the one system you are going to automate today? Are you going to set up an automatic $50 transfer? Will you map out your conscious spending buckets? Pick just one thing right now and do it today. If you found this explainer valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me which financial or self-development book you want us to cover next. Let's build that rich life together. See you next time.